326,412. That do be my estimate. So let me explain why. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. How are you, everybody? Good to see you. Don't forget to leave your estimate in the chat. You're watching this on the second channel, of course. This is the full version because I don't think there's going to be a condensed version. I think by the time we're done, by the time I would get it up, we'll be too close to the actual numbers actually coming out. So, hey, how is everybody? So I've been getting a lot of questions on Twitter. 326, what are you talking about? And these are downward revisions from my original number of 328-ish. And I kept pointing people back to the original video, and I must say none of them watched it. But that's all right. So let's actually explain the numbers. So, yeah, I went ahead and gave you all the bullet points, so you know what we're going to talk about. Shanghai what? So, Shanghai numbers are kind of easy to get at. Shanghai, where are we at? Right here. Those numbers are kind of easy to get at because there's only a couple things going on there. We know what happened in January. 59,845. We know what happened in February. 56,515. Now, February was a shorter month. I don't know if you know. It's only 28 days, and Chinese New Year's in there, which is a planned shutdown. They keep some folks working, give them the option, I imagine. Some production happens, not much. So why is my March so bullish when others might not be? It's because, if you know me, I watch all these. And when I say I watch all of them, I mean I watch all of them. Every last scrap. By the way, Wu-Wa is the drone pilot who is no longer allowed to fly over Giga Shanghai. Apparently, he was revealing trade secrets, which I believe is him counting cars coming out the door, hovering for 10, 20 minutes at a shot, counting every car that came out. They didn't care for that. So yeah, we've seen the lot refilling constantly. We've seen the footage of the loading dock down at the port with all the cars going out overseas. That's great. But Shanghai is a factory that is still being built. It has more capacity than it did 3 months ago, and 3 months before that, and 3 months before that, and in 3 and 6 months from now, it'll have more capacity still. So even if it's just running pretty good, the capacity continues to increase. What's their bottleneck? Is it batteries? Well, they're making a lot of LFP battery cars, which are a lot easier to get. They can kind of just order them. They don't have the same bottlenecks. Production just kind of happens. So I'm confident in my high number for March, even though I did scale it back. I'm saying it's 4% higher than last quarter. And I'm comfortable with that number. Ish. 4%. No, I think it's exactly 4%. Yeah. Shanghai's going to do good. Not much doubt about that. Fremont how? Oh, by the way, you do know that, there was some shutdown time. That, what an out-of-date picture, Fred. Good gravy. Yeah, there was some shutdown time. But it came right at the very end, at a time when they'd be unlikely to deliver those vehicles anyway. Mostly I count production, but I count production and deliveries as kind of the same number. And, I figure at some point it all has to balance out. They do sell every one they make, eventually. Some quarters it's a little more or less. So Fremont, what's going on there? Boy, my computer is giving me fits today. I might have 9,000 applications open. That is entirely possible. Met God in Wilderness, 800. How am I not? Oh, I'm not subscribed on this channel. I'm subscribed. You know what? I'm subscribed on both. I was like, what? Right. So he does flyovers all the time. And we've seen all the cars moving at the paces we would expect. But like Fremont, this is a factory that is constantly under renovation. Like Shanghai, this is a factory that's constantly under renovation, constantly expanding, constantly increasing its capacity. Well, why would I expect such a big bump? Because what kind of numbers did I say here? I'm looking at a substantial increase. Well, it's the same increase from the quarter before it, and not much bigger than the quarter before that. The factory is still expanding. It's still getting bigger and higher capacity. So Fremont, I believe, will have higher numbers for two reasons. A lack of headwinds. We haven't heard much about chip shortages. Is that what I got up next? Yeah. And that's because chips exist. Maybe not the one you need. Maybe the microcontroller you need to roll up your Windows is not available. But if you're Tesla, that don't matter. And the fact that they've already rewritten the firmware for over 19 different chips to fill these menial tasks, 19 new variants of controllers in response, means they can just order whatever. What do you got? That's what I want. That's a lack of tailwinds, of headwinds. But what headwinds could they face? Well, if not a chip shortage, a battery shortage, right? Well, they switched to LFP for the shorter range ones. At least that was the plan in October. And it appears that this has happened. That alleviates a very big bottleneck. And for that matter, Tesla's using the LFPs in some of its vehicles. It's now using them in the US. This was reported in December. So in Q1, we should see increased numbers due to the lack of constraint from not having a battery shortage. Well, if they were really making these LFP cars, wouldn't the wait times be shorter? They are. Hertz already has a ton of cars. People have been renting them. I believe Transport Evolved rented one on a recent trip to Los Angeles. These cars exist. They're out there, and they're getting rented. That's a tailwind. Berlin, Brian, really? You put in Berlin numbers? You gave Berlin some production? Yeah, I did. I did because running slow. Because if you looked at the footage from just before the sale kickoff event, you would see that they had a cajillion out there. They had a permit to make about 2,000. And I've heard all kinds of rumors that these can't be sold. Well, that's what the permit said. But can't be sold ever? Can't be sold in Germany? I think it's one of those two. I think it's either it can't be sold in Germany or it can't be sold until the permit was approved. Because there's no way they're making $100 million worth of cars to turn around and scrap them. And more importantly, I've been watching the dumpsters. There's no painted panels in there. Those cars do not appear to have been scrapped. So that's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. Let's get over here. Look at all those pretty girls all lined up in a row. Take your pick. Are they actually being delivered, though? Turns out they are. Best in Tesla went down to the showroom to see people getting their deliveries. Hello, Lars. Be nice. He's a great guy. I really like him. Again, it looks like I'm not subscribed. I'm subscribed on my main channel. We're on my second channel. Making me look bad, YouTube. Making me look bad. So deliveries have begun. So I'm still saying production about 2,000. And if it's not 2,000, in the scheme of this estimate, is a rounding error. Texas. I gave 700 to Texas. Yeah, I sure did. Sure did. Because, and I don't need to tell you guys this, you've been watching the footage. Same footage I have. There's a lot of cars out there, man. And they're always moving. Maybe they're the same cars over and over. Maybe they're being moved out to other locations. There have been transport trucks spotted carrying these cars. So it's entirely possible these are already being shipped, but not yet delivered because they're waiting on the final permit. So it could be that that 700 is produced and not delivered. It's unlikely we're going to see a again. It's unlikely we're going to see a breakout by factory. So these numbers would just be lumped in with Fremont, which gives me even more comfort in them because, you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to be good. But I am definitely way higher than the market. I am way above the market. Market's still at 309. They were at 312. They saw the extended shutdown in Shanghai and said, oh, 309, which is reasonable. That's only a day and a half of extra production lost. But did they think they were going to come back on the 30th and start producing? Those Wall Street guys, man. I've never seen such clowns. They make $350,000, $400,000 a year to just throw darts at a board. Yeah, Wall Street. Why don't we take a second and talk about them? We're going to talk about them, then we're going to let you ask your questions. We're going to answer them. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to go deep into there. We're going to go into the Q&A hole. Let's go all the way back to Q4 of 2020. Why? Because that's when I started the channel and started making my estimates. Automaker delivered 180,000 against Wall Street estimates of 174. 6,000. Not a catastrophic miss. Not too bad, but not great. Not great. Q1. In Q1, Wall Street estimate, consensus of 172. How'd they do? 184. That's a big miss. That's a pretty big miss. It's like 7%. Now, in Q2 of last year, they did great. 201 was their estimate. It came in at 201, 250. You can't ask for better than that. But in the entire history of Tesla, this is the only time they've ever been close. So let's go on to Q3. 227 was the deliveries. Oh, sorry. The estimate was 222 against 238 or 240. That's a bad miss. That's bad. That's almost 10%. Oh. And by the way, was this the one? I don't remember. One of these quarters, I think it was Q1. Yeah, Q1 was the one, I think, where I was off by 91 cars. Oh, I was so excited. My channel's going to blow up. I'm going to get so much respect. I was mistaken. Not about the numbers, but about that. And then, of course, last quarter, consensus 263, deliveries 308. Now, I missed as well, but I didn't miss like that. Oh. If you're paying these guys, maybe it's time to fire them all. So I am definitely a bit nervous about my estimates. I'm nervous because I am the outlier among serious prognosticators. Now, there's always some jackal who pops in days after the quarter ends and says, oh, you know what? I, on this date, predicted the exact number. Not the exact, but real close. And then I go look at all their other history and they're just throwing out numbers without methodology. And I think it's great, by the way, that all of us on YouTube and Twitter and social media generally show the math. If I could get away with just making a number and then being like, ha-ha. No, I have to show my math. You have to know I'm serious. So, two big things. We'll get into the Q&A here. But of course, as always, thank you to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, and ad-free experience, all that good stuff. Help keep the channel running, and the $10 level and above get access to my 11-year predictions. Boy, if I nail this one, if I nail it while being an outlier, now it's easy to just go right into the pack or just over or just under. That's not how my numbers work. I don't. Last quarter, I was one of the first to put out numbers, and I was an outlier. And then everyone migrated towards my number. I'm not saying they did it because of me. Maybe. Probably not. And then we were all off. My numbers are my numbers. But I am nervous about it. Oh, yes, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Jeff. I did a great interview with Jeff. I just haven't had time to edit it. And I've got 2 other big interviews I got to edit too before I go to Texas. Running out of time. Still don't got my invite. By the way, who's going to Texas? Who's going to Texas? Big news. I don't know if you know. I'm hosting a meet and greet. And as of today, as of like a half hour ago, I heard from Brad Sloan, he has decided he will be attending the meet and greet, which means every one of the active drone pilots will be at the meet and greet. How cool is that? Oh, so exciting. Oh, so exciting. We've got hundreds of tickets reserved. Mostly of the free variety, but some of the various $2, $20, or $50 variety, where folks are helping out with cost of, pizza and all that stuff. And we've got some swag, some merch we're giving away. And, get your estimates in on the chat, because if any of you get remotely close, whoever's closest is going to get some free swag in the mail. Free swag from the event, even if you don't go. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. When will the configurator... Let's get into the Q&A, shall we? Mark Davis. Hello, Mark. When will the configurator show new specs for Austin Model Y? I believe the answer is as soon as the EPA final certification comes through. I believe it would be crazy to wait any longer. So many, GreenPad says, so many YouTubers don't have invites yet. Doesn't make sense. Until you remember, they don't have a PR department. I don't know who's in charge of it. Probably someone whose job it is not. So, Whole Mars Catalog claims to have gotten his invite today. And I believe it's probably not a April Fool's joke. Could be. But yeah, Sawyer Merritt doesn't have his. I don't know if Troy Teslike is going. I don't know. Dave Lee, I don't believe, has his. Jeff Roberts doesn't have his. So many big names are still... We're losing our mind. Meet Kevin got a ticket. That's not too surprising, I don't think. I think that would be someone who I would invite. But yeah, there's... The list of obvious folks to invite is quite long, and it feels like they've gotten through very few of them, which is very frustrating for a number of folks. A PR department, it would just be nice to be able to put in my name and say, come on, man, help me out. But it's like, well, you can always tweet at Elon. Yeah, I can. I can also put in my song request from the balcony. But, Trevor from the Model 3 Owners Club got his. Nice. By the way, hello, Hockey Day. Good to see you. Yeah, who else got them? There's a lot of people who've got them that, to me, are real head scratchers. It's a real who's who of who the hell doesn't know anything about the factory. It'd be nice if those of us who are obsessed with it, truly obsessed, would get our tickets, and maybe we will. Maybe we will. But either way, Texas is going to be one heck of an event. So it's pretty cool. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, Joe Tetmeyer was among the first to receive his. He was in the very first wave, which is why I was so surprised that Jeff didn't get his. He's definitely on their radar every bit as much as Joe. Yes, David, the Q&A hole. That's where we are. This is the drop-down part of the show where we do that. John says, maybe nudge that subscribe button. I would appreciate that. Oh, hi, Kirk. I didn't see you there. Kirk, wonderful to have you. I appreciate your long-term support and always popping in with just a thanks or a yeah, appreciate it. I really do. Mark saying 2025, end of new ice. Jeff Jeff is saying the Winchester Mystery Factory in Shanghai. I don't think of Shanghai as being a mess. Fremont is a mess. Fremont is a mess. I do not understand why they are so desperate to keep expanding it when what they need to do is start over. So we shall see. But yeah, it is, boy, the footage we're seeing from both inside Shanghai and the recent drone footage showing inside Berlin, it is the alien dreadnought we were promised. Rachel asks, how you doing? Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I've got plenty of complaints. None of them valid. Hope you can get a ticket to the rodeo. You deserve to see, smell, touch, taste what you tracked so diligently. Thank you, Elliot. I appreciate that. Yeah, it'll be... So here's my plan of attack. Plan A, get a ticket. Plan B, be lucky enough to be someone's +1. Plan C, I'll stand at the off-ramp with a sign begging. I ain't too proud. Live stream it. By the way, I will be doing a bunch of live streams from Texas. At least that's the plan. So that should be pretty cool. Oh, and also, Bear's Workshop is going to be... I forgot to mention. If Bear was in the chat, he'd have mentioned it. But he's not. So, yeah, he will be at the event as well. He asked to be a co-host. I said, that's great. That's great. Because, you know, I've spent a little bit of time working with Bear, and I appreciate him. Yeah, we've got some estimates. 327, 313, 317. Yeah. Fremont may have other value. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Do you mean dialing in improvements for other factories? Maybe. I don't know. Stevie Z, can't make it. We'll try to help. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. It's very helpful. And, you know, you being here is also helpful. You chatting is helpful. All of it's helpful, you guys. All of it is helpful. And I'm having fun today. Green days are more fun. You guys know. Olivia asks, hi, Brian. Is it true that people are getting their cars earlier? I saw something about that on Twitter. So I've seen both. I know Bear is just got a notice that his Model S is delayed again. But I have heard of people getting bumped up by a month or two in the wait. And a response to that I saw was, don't believe it until your date's until they assign you a VIN. So I don't know. I think that could be quite possible. Hockey Day. Tesla factory is 3.5 aircraft carriers long. Isn't it ridiculous? On a live stream, on the podcast, Bear asked me to measure it in cruise ships. He was on some ginormous cruise ship, Princess Carnival. And what we found is this huge cruise ship would fit on the factory sideways, and you could fit, I don't remember, 16, 17 of them side by side in the factory. Oh, and it would be, I think it would be too tall to go inside, but still. MD Hofsty says, Jeff won't get his, as bombing the site with drones. Come on, Jeff has only crashed twice. And only one of those times was into the factory itself. If they had a problem with him, they would just ask him not to fly. Or ask him to stick to the perimeter, like they do in Berlin, to the drone pilots on weekdays. Who is this says, one heck of an event that hardly anyone is invited to. We got to figure the employees are probably going to take 1,000 or 2 tickets. Construction workers, maybe another 1,000 or 2. The locals, is that even happening? We're running out of time, man. Oh, we're running out of time. What are we at? 6 days? What's today? Friday. Oh, 6 days. Jeff says, Fremont is messy. Made a delivery a couple times. Yeah. Where are the Tesla going to be made? I don't understand the question, Hockey Day. If you want to ask that again, we've got a couple more minutes. They're trying to buy up other buildings in Fremont. Oh, where's the Tesla bot going to be made? Whew. My guess would be at a different building on the Austin campus. Especially for first round, I don't think you'd need more than 500,000 square feet. They're small. They're not car size. They're small. A line can be very small and get the job done, even with all in-house parts being made. John's touchpad, 326,666. It's a nice number. It's a nice number. Obviously, I think, a little biased. Kirk's going to ask the same question he asked Farzad. When Tesla opens Supercharger, who do you believe is responsible for solving the different charger connectors? Tesla, the customer, or other car manufacturers? So not other car manufacturers, not their problem. They're already using the global standard. The customer, for sure, but I believe new chargers built would have 2 cables. 2 cables. But if you have an adapter, they would need to make a compliant adapter that people could buy that isn't $1,000. So that's my answer. Hope that helps. Jeff's Model X still says July. The X is ramping slower than I expected. What are we at? We've got a couple minutes still. Any word on semi-production happening this quarter? Have not heard. Have not heard. Yeah. So the lack of information tells me no. Tells me no. Do I anticipate any Cybertruck news around the Cyber Rodeo? I do not. I do not. I think it'll be there on display, but I do not see any news. Least favorite bit of B-roll. Got to get rid of that. I do not see that being brought up. 342,069. Mark says 300, 420, 69. It's a good guess. It's a good guess. It's way too high. But boy, if you're right, oh. Hockey Day says 15,000 are going. Yep. That's why I'm hopeful. That's why I'm so hopeful. People are getting desperate. On Twitter, oh man, you should see. It's people are, especially people who've booked tickets. Yeah. Do I think Mr. Musk got a ticket? I don't know. He's really hard to reach on Twitter, even for himself. By the way, almost out of time. The thing I wanted to say about Texas is my event's not getting the kind of love TeslaCon is. Anytime someone says, ooh, I can't get into Cyber Rodeo, should I go to TeslaCon? I want to keep reminding them that there's other events, but I think 2-3 times a day is quite enough. And I did invite Sawyer Merritt. He said, oh man, if I can't get in, are there any other events going on? I said, hey man, you're welcome to join mine. And even his crickets were silent. Hockey Day, 420, 690. Nice. What time do the numbers come out tomorrow? I don't know. Probably early, which is upsetting because I was kind of hoping to sleep in. We shall see. Jeff says that 6-seaters of the Plaid Model X are shipping, or at least of the Model X refresh. Yeah. Why give up on Fremont before S and X get a full redesign? I don't know. You're probably right. Yeah, Tesla could sell tickets for tours and make more cash. They could also make it a charity fundraiser. But I'm just worried that all the tickets would go for $500 and people like me would just never get to go. So I thought about that. 7:30, guys. 7:30. This was fun. Thank you all for being here. Let me know what I missed or misunderstood, especially if you're catching this on the replay. This will not probably go to the main channel because by the time it would get there, it would be too old. So, yeah, let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots live from Texas.